Hello and welcome to The Nation. I'm Jessie Chahel. From websites selling fake COVID-19 blood screening tests to substandard face masks available on e-commerce platforms and the sale of dangerous fake medicine via instant messaging apps, counterfeiters have been quick to cash in on COVID-19. The outbreak of the coronavirus disease has offered an opportunity for fast cash as criminals exploit shortages of genuine products and the anxieties of regular citizens like you and I. The profits generated by these criminals during this time of crisis are likely quite substantial, as these criminals operate in a complete disregard of our health and well-being. Joining me today to shed light on our topic, IP rights in e-commerce, is a lawyer, Geeta Kandia. Welcome to the program, Geeta. Thanks for being with us. You say from your findings and research as well that what's hot in the business world right now is, of course, e-commerce. That's on the rise. But what's new about this? What is different about it this time?
So actually, Jessie, number one, thanks for having me over. And that's right, e-commerce is super hot right now, and it's exacerbated by the pandemic. Everyone's gone online due to the lockdown, and that's where you search for anything online. There was actually a report done by Temasek, Bain & Company, and Google, which are amazing companies on their own right. So they have amazing sort of data on their hands, and they've
joined together to put this report.
That's right, they joined together to put this report on how is the e-economy in Southeast Asia. So not just e-commerce, they looked at e-hailing apps, social media. What is the use of online by users in Southeast Asia? And it's really interesting. In this report, which was done before the pandemic, this was in 2019, they revealed that it has hit 100 billion US dollars in terms of online users being online, in terms of revenue by users being online, and it's estimated by 2025 it will be 300 billion. So that itself shows that what kind of revenue or income is being generated online. And there's various online mediums, and you've seen what's happened. Like, so with the pandemic, all of us went online with the online platforms, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, all of those exploded in terms of user base.
Right.
Then you had e-commerce, which is another, it's gone upscale so much because of the lockdown and travel restrictions.
Right.
So those two were one of the key effects of the pandemic on online usage.
So based on that, who would you say today's program is meant for? Is it the general public, or is it mainly for people in business owners, brand owners for that matter?
It would be for both. Actually, for those tuning in, it would be businesses who are actually online and selling online, whatever it is they're doing. It could be e-commerce sites. It could be many companies now also sell through what you said, WhatsApp. A lot of people also sell it through social media sites. Instagram has selling options, and Facebook has selling options as well. So we're looking at sellers, and we're looking at lay people, you and me as well.
Right.
We are also online. We are there online. So today when we talk about intellectual property rights in the e-commerce platform, we're like, what are the risks for both the sellers and the buyers?
Absolutely. So obviously now more people are online shopping, and with that, sort of a natural trend would be the rise or increase of fake goods as well and brand infringements. Are there certain verticals or certain sectors you would say that you have seen of being affected more than the others?
Very good question. The verticals that are affected are usually fast-moving consumer goods. So there's been a lot of reports about counterfeit masks being sold online, and you don't know whether are they genuine.
Absolutely. I think, if not mistaken, China confiscated millions of fake masks during this few months in this period as well.
That's right. So number one, it was really good that China is even taking an action against it, because everyone says, oh, Chinese in Malaysia boleh, everything boleh in China also. So that was awesome that China actually cracked down on counterfeit masks. It is extremely dangerous. So with fast-moving consumer goods, for the buyer, for us to actually purchase counterfeit goods or have the risk of purchasing counterfeit goods is dangerous for us, especially if it's health-related products. And a mask is a health-related product. A counterfeit mask may not even serve its purpose. It's the same as not wearing a mask at all. Then you have skincare. You and I would not even use anything that ruins our skin. Counterfeit products have not been tested in the marketplace. You do not know whether are they safe for use or is it harmful. Apart from skincare, consumables, medication, anything that you consume and your body processes it, if it hasn't been tested, it's not genuine. That's a high risk of your health being sacrificed. So these are the risks when a buyer purchases counterfeit products.
Yeah, we spoke about the goods that are available, and of course during the rise of the crisis as well, face masks, sanitizers, these are some of the goods that are fast selling, and of course with the demand being high, fake goods can also kind of slip in there. When you're buying such products, what are some of the things that you look for to ensure that these products are genuine and by the brand itself?
Online, there are various tips that you can have. If it's genuine or you're thinking of quality, looking at a price factor is a huge sign. If it's really good quality, how is it priced so low? So that's a good indication. Another indication online on e-commerce sites, so we're looking at if it's on Lazada, Shopee, or various other online sites. If there's various prices in different sites, a genuine product, an owner of a genuine product normally does not price it so many different styles. So that might be an indication. And I say it's an indication because sometimes they are genuine products if different sellers are doing different discounts. So it's an indication, but you have to research further. And also always trying to find the source where these products are made, who's the manufacturer, and what the company websites say about them.
Thanks, Geeta. We're taking a quick break right now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right here on The Nation.
Jom kita semarak dan semaikan 50 tahun Rukun Negara.
Right, Geeta, well, thanks for joining us once again. And of course, we're talking about intellectual property rights in the e-commerce space. I'm going to pull up a slide right now on the screen, and perhaps you could give us a little explanation as to what this particular slide is. If we could put that up right now. In the meantime, let's look at the area of rights and risks involved. Let's go to this slide at this point of time. Geeta, what is this saying?
This actually shows the companies that are the countries by population of usage of internet. So how many of them have gone online, and also what are they actually selling online. So you can see what are they doing online, what kind of apps are they using. The grey one actually indicates that that's productivity, which is Google Meets and things to get things done.
Right.
And then you look at, actually the slide's taken off, but for those who caught it earlier, the majority of usage online is social media. So a chunk of it, all the countries.
I'll pull up the slide again. Let's take a closer look, and if possible, if we could zoom into those graphs as well. Let's take a look at this. Yep,
this one, yeah. So this one, the larger portions, the darker blue, show that there's a lot of social media usage. And the lighter blue is a lot of gaming sites. So you can see it's all on the fun side of things. So that's where when there is a lot of use on the internet, it could be for various reasons. So not just e-commerce, but e-commerce comes to a big part because now a lot of things are sold on social media.
Right. And you talk about social media and having that fun element as well. A lot of people are there when they are predominantly in a better mood, and they're also perhaps shopping on the go. And two products, one that is original and one that's a fake product, may come across to seem super similar as well. So how does one know if one is purchasing a fake good or counterfeit good? Is there a certain way of identifying that?
There's a very famous case in the UK where it wasn't about online commerce, but literally what is infringement, what is passing off. And in that decision, they said that a moron in a hurry that goes to the supermarket and is rushing to buy something and just grabs something off the shelf. If a moron in a hurry is confused, there is confusion and there is passing off of a trademark that's too similar to the original trademark.
I'm going to bring up that slide that was just on the screen once again. Now let's take a closer look at this. Some key findings here, Geeta.
Yeah, so this was a report. This was a report done by Redpoint. Redpoint, which is a brand protection and intelligence platform. So they look at counterfeit goods and infringement online. So this is really interesting. What they found, and it's very much concerned with the US market, but it shows kind of an outlay of how it is actually for all of us. 68% of US shoppers are concerned that there might be more inauthentic or poorer quality products sold online. So with the pandemic, everyone online, there is a lot of concern that it might not be genuine products. And this is the best of all. So to all of those people who are in business, and if you're not online, it's a huge concern to you because 58% of customers are buying online more than usual. Even though this report is for the US market, the Bain, Temasek, and Google report shows that ASEAN is going online big time. And the other statistics here, let's see the last one, 60% would increase online shopping if they were worried about catching the virus in stores. So what we're finding is more and more people are online, and it's only going to go ahead, like it's going to increase over the year. And then you have more counterfeit goods and more fake products online.
Being in IP yourself, do you see a rise in a certain area, or do you see a lot of people coming to you with a certain specific case or problem?
There is right now a lot of online matters where, for example, it would be someone's using my photograph on their website. So that's an online issue already. There's copyright infringement if it's your photograph being used on their website. So then we actually handle that dispute. Another example is counterfeit goods on e-commerce sites such as Lazada or Shopee. All of these e-commerce sites have specific mechanism.
Geeta, I love your beautiful hair, but it's kind of touching the mic a little bit, so we'll put it at the back. Yes, okay, continue.
So the e-commerce platforms have takedown sites, takedown mechanisms where you write a complaint in, explain to them that this is my trademark, it's registered in Malaysia.
Where do we write to?
The websites themselves, the e-commerce platforms.
I see, from of which you shop on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
do the organizations themselves have a sense of responsibility, or do they have to abide by law to a certain extent where they themselves are responsible to put out goods that are only original? And can they control that?
So actually, it's very difficult for them to control, and that's why they all have to have this mechanism where they must take down the counterfeit goods or the listing of the counterfeit goods if there has been a complaint filed and a complaint has been investigated to be genuine. So you have then the complainant has to show that they are the true owner of the brand. You can't simply complain as well. You have to show you're the true owner of the brand, show evidence of why is that the fake brand. The Lazada or Shopee, the e-commerce platforms will investigate, is this genuine? The complaint, is it genuine? And if it is found to be counterfeit goods, they'll take it down.
We're pulling up another slide now. Let's take a look at the screen once again. What's this telling us, Geeta?
This is the report itself. So this is the e-economy Southeast Asia report, which identifies the type of the areas in which are actually successful online. You can see e-hailing, logistics. It's the actually need to zoom into
consumer
it.
trust, funding, payments, internet access.
Yeah, so these are areas in which I think counterfeits are being found. So it looks at various areas, which is payments, logistics,
what laws
internet
are
access.
in place here in Malaysia to control this particular issue of counterfeit from reoccurring or happening?
The main one is Trademark Law, the Trademark Act. That itself allows brand owners to protect themselves against counterfeit products. So the main one is Trademark Act. Even though it might not be identical products, you have common law, which is passing off. So if someone's passing off their product as if it's the brand owner's product, they have action against that act.
So there's such a thing called the law of passing off.
Yeah,
and how is that different from counterfeit or brand infringement?
So counterfeit goods are identical products, identical brand names used on products that are identical, but they do not come from the genuine brand owner. So those are identical products, identical looking products, identical names. The passing off is it sounds similar to. You know how many times that we've gone to places and something sounds similar. In Indonesia, I've seen CFC as opposed to KFC.
Right.
And you've seen variations of Puma. So where there's a misspelling or image that looks like the image that's meant to appear but it's different, that's passing off.
And what really is the difference between a trademark and one applying for trademark or copyright? What is involved in that process as well?
So trademark relates to the brand. Okay, let's go back to e-commerce, right? So e-commerce, any seller, if I'm selling any cosmetic product online, I've got a brand that I affix to my cosmetic product. But my packaging might also be amazing. I've got artistic image of the product that I have, how it will influence, who's the user market. That packaging can enjoy copyright, which is the artistic work around it. So if there's any trespassers or copycats who copy the brand, I can sue for trademark infringement. If they copy the look of the packaging, I can sue for copyright infringement. So that's the difference in terms of brand and the layout. Any product basically has intellectual property rights, and a copycat can be stopped through intellectual property rights.
Very simply said. We're going to come back and talk about more on that. Don't go anywhere. You're watching The Nation.
Yang cemerlang seorang kanak-kanak bergantung kepada pemilihan makanan yang berkhasiat dan kaya dengan nutrien.
Mari sama-sama kita raikan semarak 5 dekad rukun negara.
Welcome back to The Nation. I'm with Geeta Kandia. We're talking about intellectual property rights, particularly in the e-commerce space today. I'm going to pull up another slide, Geeta. This is a slide you've shared with us as well, looking at the usage across Southeast Asia. And you can see sort of the difference in those numbers as well. Let's wait for that to come up. There you go.
So this is back to the report I mentioned, the e-economy in Southeast Asia report. This actually shows the breakdown of the internet users in Southeast Asia. So overall, as a group, Southeast Asia has 10 countries, right? So there's 360 million internet users. And what's interesting from the report is 90% of these internet users are using it for mobile phones. So this is the breakdown, and you can see, and you can also then see why are these markets incredibly important, not just for Malaysian businesses, but also the foreign market. A lot of FDI enters these countries, and that's clearly because of this. Apart from the population, you've got then the internet users, the population itself is large, and then you've got a bulk of internet users coming from that countries. So 264 million in Indonesia. And you've got 105 million in users.
So 32 users here in Malaysia who are accounted for, 32 million.
Which, and Jessie, look at that, 32 million. And what's our population of the country itself? You're looking at 36, 37.
Right, yeah.
Which is more than 90% are internet users.
That's right. So what are the rights and risks involved for Malaysians as buyers as they go online?
So we talked about risks for sellers. For buyers, it would be the consuming these products and consuming counterfeit products. That's risk to yourself. A lot of things are harmful if it's not genuine, because brand owners care a lot about reputation and goodwill. For any of their product, an electrical product to suddenly burst, they'll be embarrassed. And we've seen this in the market a lot of times where companies pull back their products because they find one faulty product, one dangerous product. And that's great. Genuine brand owners do that. Counterfeit brand owners can't do that, or not even counterfeit brand owners, counterfeit manufacturers can't do that because they are counterfeit products. They won't pull back any of their products. That's the huge danger for human health.
And you say you see a huge rise of this kind of activity in the FMCG sector as well.
That's right.
And so what would be a typical way of operating within this particular sector or these crime groups? What is their modus operandi?
So, before this lockdown and restrictions in travel, we all know as Malaysians, we know Petaling Street's the place to go to if you want to buy non-genuine products. And over time, you also realize that, hey, there are various different stores that sell such products. How come they look so similar? So it's definitely a case of suppliers being the same. So the modus operandi would be there is one major manufacturer who's then having a lot of suppliers. So it's another supply chain where it all stems in from a big manufacturer. So when we do investigation, it's not just where's the source, which are the retailers that are selling counterfeit products, but what are the source from the retailers? Where are the retailers getting it from? So a proper thorough investigation finds the supply chain so that when you attack them, when you take a legal action against them, you're going and nipping the problem from the bud.
But it seems so that these kind of activities and these kind of sales will keep happening because there is a demand. And where there's demand, there's supply, especially when you look at income disparities. Branded goods are top tier. They are expensive.
Yes, I think sometimes top tier products maybe don't even face that much of, they do, but like someone once told me, someone who wants to buy a fake Rolex is not even a customer of Rolex because you can't afford a Rolex, it's not their target market. So that's interesting when you're talking about disparity of income, right? I think it's more so a case of, for brand owners, in terms of having a strategy, how do they go about it? It's going to be hit it where it hurts. So only go target places that are selling it big because that's affecting your own income.
Right.
And that would be the strategy for them.
So what would you suggest to sellers who are now on online e-commerce platforms, and as we've seen in the past few months with the MCO as well, many startups, many entrepreneurs getting on e-commerce platforms as well. How can they begin to monitor these kind of activity online, for example?
So online, there are many companies that provide an online monitoring services that can be quite expensive. So only the big brands sometimes employ them. Internally, you're looking at SMEs and startups. As they grow their brand online, they should definitely have 1 or 2 person in their local teams monitoring online. So they'll be monitoring to e-commerce sites, social media sites, anywhere where there's a touch point and there's a sale being made. So that's where they should actually be exploring. And this could be done in a system where they check it once in 2 weeks or once a month. And they'll use words like replica to something, like to something. Because sometimes people don't just use the brand, they use a version of their brand. It looks like this, it's a replica to this. Another way they can do it is also to, if they're entering other countries, to use the local dialect or the local slang and how they refer to that product. And there's a case in, not so much online, but there was a case in China where Starbucks sued another company called Xing Baku, because Xing means, Xing means star in Chinese, in Mandarin, and Baku is a phonetical equivalent to bucks.
Right.
So can you see, it's not even Starbucks being copied, but local equivalent.
Starbucks sells coffee? Right. Moving on from that, as of last year, we had actually joined the World Intellectual Property Organization, or WIPO, in Geneva with the Madrid system. Tell us all about that. So
Malaysia was under a lot of pressure to join Madrid Protocol. What the system does is, and why were they under a lot of pressure, is because the system allows brand owners, it actually helps brand owners to protect their brand in many countries in a very quick way, in an effective way. So that's why Malaysia was under a lot of pressure. Also because among all the Southeast Asia countries, Malaysia and Myanmar were the only ones who hadn't entered into this Madrid Protocol system.
Why did it take so long?
Very good question.
For an environment here, especially locally, where there's so much of counterfeit activity.
And also a lot of encouragement from government, right, in terms of having a thrive and robust economy. A very good question. I think the Intellectual Property Office is not ready yet because it does involve a lot of work for them. They have a timeline to which they have to speed up examination of trademarks and so on. So I think there might be multiple reasons due to that. But the system is amazing because it allows brand owners, so local companies can now protect their brands in many countries through a system where it's faster because you file a trademark in Malaysia, then that trademark application is sent to Geneva, and that application then is sent to all the countries that you have chosen to protect your brand in. So in theory, it eliminates all the lawyers in the process, right? Because in the normal way, you will actually engage, let's say engage us, and we write to 10 lawyers in those specific countries to say, hey, can you please help to protect this brand in your market? But now with this system, you have the IP officers, the intellectual property officers, speaking to intellectual property officers in all those 10 countries.
Right. Very quickly, on sort of a softer side, if you will, brands that are online, many of them are also sort of, putting up images and text, which are sometimes also a copy and paste from somewhere else. So what are some of those implications? We don't have much time left on the clock, Gita.
Okay, so rule of thumb is if it's not yours, there's a high risk you're infringing someone else's rights. So the rule of thumb is, where are you getting these images from? It could be text, it could be images, and if you're using it without permission, that means you're under infringement, and there's a high risk of you getting a legal letter saying please stop. And worst of all, it tarnishes the image of your company, of your brand. So that's the quickest explanation you can give. But in terms of whether it's trademark infringement or copyright infringement, it goes to what is it actually are you copying?
And any last closing comments before I let you go on the perhaps legal process involved to file a case?
Well, for buyers, it is, if you suspect it's counterfeit goods, is to report to the specific e-commerce platforms. And for sellers, to be very vigilant online. Online's the place to go, and the report shows that online's the place to go. So for sellers, number one, to be online if they're not already online. Number two, to be very vigilant to make sure that their brand is very strong. And the strength actually comes from stopping other brands which are similar existing or coexisting.
Right. Thank you very much, Gita, for coming in and, of course, shedding light on intellectual property rights in the e-commerce space, as I'm sure many of you out there as well are, on that space, getting online, selling your products or your services and having a big brand presence online. Make sure you monitor other companies or activity that could be copying your brand or product. That's it from me, Jessie Chahal, right here in the studio at BERNAMA. Keep it locked on for more news and updates coming your way. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
With the MERS 999 application system, getting emergency assistance is now easier. Save Me 999 Police connects the Malaysian public to the police. Save Me 999 Deaf for those with hearing or speech impairments. And